Hello, everyone, and welcome to the start of another month. As we've said so many times, these months seem to just be going by more quickly and more quickly. And as I've said many times before, we are becoming less aware of the physical boundaries of our earthly experience, if you will, and we are becoming much more aware of spirit, our spiritual connection, and the spiritual beings that we are. In the spirit realm, time and space does not exist, and it's because of that we are becoming less and less aware of the boundaries of time, and much more aware of our connection with spirit, and certainly our spiritual connection with one another and to all things. And it's just to emphasize that we are really being encouraged to live in the moment that we are in, and certainly embrace that moment and all that we are being shown about ourselves and our spiritual journey while we are here on earth at this time. We are in early October. We just had a total lunar eclipse, super moon, on the 27th. Those energies are certainly in effect until our new moon, which we have in a few weeks. However, many times the energies and the influences of an eclipse are in effect for longer periods of time, 3 months, 6 months, and sometimes even of longer duration. Actually, the 3 month, the 6 month, and the 9 month time period are indication of the trigger points of the energies of the eclipse. So just in the back of your mind, keep as a point of reference the December time frame, the next series of eclipses, which take place in 6 months, which will be in March, and then 6 months after that. Observe what was taking place, what has come to fruition during this time of the eclipse. The eclipse was in the sign of Aries. The moon was in the sign of Aries, Aries being the initiator. Many of us were being given and still are being given opportunities to initiate certain endeavors and experiences in our lives that can very much so potentially benefit the greater of humanity. We are being given the opportunity at this time to embrace our destiny, our purpose, whatever it is that you would connect with that to be. Certainly connect with that, embrace that, and follow through. Many times the challenge with the sign of Aries is that Aries initiates, however, many times it does not follow through. So certainly allow yourself and inspire yourself to follow through with whatever it is you have initiated, with whatever it is that you are initiating at this time, and continue moving forward. And very much be aware and know that you are being called to embrace a destiny, a purpose that can potentially raise the vibration, certainly of yourself as well as others who are also having these experiences themselves, and all of humanity. Around October 4th and 5th, the alignments that are taking place at that time can seem and feel very unsettled. Certainly at that time, emotions will be running very high. I encourage everyone to keep yourself grounded, to be aware of your circumstances, be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, acknowledge and trust those feelings. Emotions certainly could be running high at that time, but also our psychic sensitivity is also running very high at that time, and will continue to do so in these next few weeks and in these next few months as well. All of us are becoming very aware of our psychic sensitivity, some more so than others. The energies around the time of October 4th and then 5th, and through the new moon, which we have on October 12th, that psychic sensitivity, that heightened awareness is certainly going to be very present and very prevalent during that time. So be aware, stay grounded, also continue to keep yourself protected. Whenever we connect with energy in this way, or in any other way for that matter, we always are encouraged to invoke the element and the energy of protection. It could be as simple as simply asking spirit for protection, surrounding yourself with the energy of the white light, that protective energy, And sometimes we can do things that are much more complex, wearing certain crystal alignments will offer the element of protection as well, especially in our homes. The energy excuse me, we are being aware at that time as well of the energy that we may be bringing into our home. So be aware to not allow yourself to bring any negativity into your home. Many times when we are out food shopping, we're out at the mall, we can certainly pick up what I call to be hitchhikers, things that latch onto us, especially when we're not allowing ourselves to be aware of our psychic sensitivity. And there's a tendency for those energies to cling on to us. Certainly with awareness, as with all things with awareness, we can protect ourselves and prevent any negativity from interfering, certainly with our well-being. On October 12th, we have our next new moon, and that new moon is in the sign of Libra. Libra is the sign certainly of relationships. It connects very much so with relationships, but Libra also connects with heightened levels of creativity. I always encourage everyone, recognize your own personal creativity, whatever that might be. Many times when I talk about creativity, an individual immediately thinks of artists, musicians. However, creativity, the expression of creativity, really is the expression of divinity that every one of us is capable of tapping into. So around the time of the new moon, perhaps recognize where you can be more creative, where you can demonstrate your creativity. Wherever Libra is in our charts, it could be a very good indication as to what area we will demonstrate that creativity. However, overall, I always encourage all of us to recognize our creativity and our own personal, unique, creative expression. At the time of the new moon, the planet Uranus, which is the planet of awakening, it's also the planet of chaos and extreme unsettled energy, is forming a new moon opposition to the new moon, which in simply stated means Uranus is at the opposite end of the spectrum of the new moon at that time. Just as it does at the time of a full moon, things are heightened, things come to fruition. Uranus, being the planet of awakening, will emphasize and bring to form a great awakening, certainly for us personally, but also for us globally. I would suggest around the time of the new moon, allow yourself to awaken, as I said, certainly to your creativity, and also allow yourself to awaken to the knowing and understanding how all of us are very humanitarian, how we all have humanitarian connections, certainly to each other and all of humanity, regardless of where any of us resides on the planet. On October 16th, now I'm only highlighting a few specific dates. I mean, throughout the month, we have many alignments that take place. However, the more significant ones are the ones that I'm choosing to recognize and elaborate on at this time. On Friday, October 16th, there's an alignment in the heavens with Neptune, Venus, and the Moon. And the energies very much connect with the energies of our higher minds, which I'm certain you've heard me talk about in prior forecasts and prior videos, especially with now Saturn we have transiting Sagittarius, the planet of the higher mind. At that time, and this is later in the day on the 16th, the Moon and Saturn will be aligning with one another and also forming a heightened energy aspect between Neptune and Venus. At that time, when we talk about creativity, creativity is very, very high. What is more significant is our ability to receive and channel information from the higher mind. I certainly suggest during the course of that day, more specifically later in the day, in the afternoon, and into the evening period. If you feel comfortable doing so, allow yourself to be in a place of meditation. Allow yourself to receive and channel, if you will, any information that is being given to you. Certainly beforehand, be aware to ground yourself and to ask for protection. Before any type of meditation, channeling experience, intuitive experience, it would serve us well to always invoke the element, request the element of protection, and keep ourselves very grounded and very anchored to the energies of the earth. Many of us who do this sort of spiritual work, when we do so much of it, so many times we can become very disoriented, because it's just like bouncing back and forth between two worlds, two realms of a distance, and actually we certainly are. I say it's very Alice in Wonderland when I have these experiences of bouncing back and forth between worlds. So during that time on October 16th, and any other time you allow yourself to go into a place of meditation and to receive information and guidance, always stay grounded, ask for the protection. That time, it's also a time where Spirit is very eager to communicate with us and share with us their knowing. You know, we may, in some unusual way, see some form of a manifestation from Spirit in the physical world. I'm not quite sure exactly what it could be. It could be the demonstration of a saint in some way presenting themselves. We could see a deity in some way presenting themselves. It sounds a little surreal and abstract and a little far-fetched. And you know, sometimes when we do this, a lot of this information does seem very out there. However, we need to embrace what it is that we are seeing and sensing. Many times these type of alignments do increase the sightings of UFOs and also the communications with those highly evolved beings. There are certainly there are various establishments which monitor radio waves from distant galaxies and distant parts of our own galaxy. The SETI experience, not the same thing as my last name, it's SETI, which stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, may observe at that time some heightened activity in the information that they are receiving. You can certainly notice some heightened activity with radio wave signals that come from far places of the galaxy. We'll have to see what happens. However, I certainly encourage everyone to use that time to channel information for your own personal guidance and spiritual evolution. Let's see now, we are on October 23rd, the Sun is going to move into the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign that is most connected with the spiritual realm. Scorpio is the sign of transition. It's the sign of death, if you will. However, when we understand death spiritually and metaphysically, it's really not an ending, but a transitional and new beginning period. When the Sun moves into Scorpio, it is believed, and we understand, that the veil between the worlds becomes the thinnest, especially between October 31st, which is Halloween, and the winter solstice, which takes place on December 21st. It's a time for us to remember and connect with those of us who have moved into the spiritual realm, to honor our loved ones who we have not lost connections with because they have expired the use of their physical body. They're now in spirit. However, our loved ones are always very willing to connect with us and share with them their knowledge, their understandings, but also their love for us that does not end once the physical human experience has come to an end. Our next full moon is on October 27th. The moon is in the sign of Taurus, the sun in the sign of Scorpio. Taurus connects very much with financial matters. Certainly, we've seen a lot of unsettlement, if you will, with the economy, with the stock market. And you know, I don't encourage emphasizing the need to have that condition, those conditions, really define our well-being. When we remember our connection with Spirit, when we recognize and understand that we are connected to the source that created everything, we are always connected to the source of well-being. We are connected to all that we need, regardless of what unfolds in the physical world. We are certainly absolutely taken care of. It's when we interfere with that process, when we begin to push things away, whether it be through doubt, fear, insecurities, whatever. Scorpio connects with fear. Many of us will be given the opportunity to recognize what we need to do for ourselves to continually release the element of fear so that we will allow ourselves to move forward on our spiritual journey. There are some favorable alignments at that time that do suggest we could see some increased stability in the economy for those that are concerned about it. And as I said, I would not place much emphasis on the stability of the economy or anything else in the physical world to be a reflection of our well-being. I encourage everyone, connect with Spirit. Know and understand that we are connected to the source of well-being. Every one of us has those connections. Every one of us has abundance as a birthright. The sign of Taurus certainly connects with the abundance and the desire for abundance. It's when we misplace the value in those material objects, if you will, is when it becomes of a disservice to us. So with that, I will suggest that we all recognize how we are continually being given the awareness of our connection to one another. Be kind to one another, be gentle to one another. Certainly be gentle to yourselves. Stay in the light. Always stay in a place of love. I am coming back to the mystical moon. I will start again with sessions on November 17th, and that will run through December 1st. The schedule is already filling very, very, very quickly. So if you'd like to set up something with me, certainly reach out to Lori, reach out to Nicole at the Mystical Moon. Thank you, Lori, for giving me this opportunity to sit and share with you what I am envisioning for this time. Once again, stay in the light, always stay in a place of love, be gentle to yourselves, be kind to one another, and let's remember to live each moment, moment by moment. Be in that moment and embrace all that you are being shown about yourselves. Blessed be and namaste.